Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's session of The Good, the Bad, and the Truth. It's your girl, Naya Angel, here with my co-host, Mr. PAT and Eman.
What's good, everybody?
Up,
What's
fella?
going on? What's going on?
So, this week, as every week, we have some really great topics to discuss. And I think this is going to be definitely one of our toughest episodes thus far. We are going to dive right in because, why not? And start this thing off with some very exciting and interesting news. And I think, especially for me, as the two of you know, I am a super dork and proud of it.
Same with me.
Same here.
Same with me.
Fellow dork here.
We're all dorks, so this is our moment to shine. But with that, we're fresh off the hype of the new Zack Snyder release of the Justice League, and there has been a story recently about a Black Superman to come. Super excited to discuss this. So the question is, will this movie come to fruition? And if so, what will be the impact? So I think to start us off, I'm going to go ahead and throw this to Mr. PAT. What say you, sir?
All right. So, will this movie come to fruition? And if so, what will be the impact? It's an interesting question. So I can see this film coming into fruition. Why? Because it would be yet another way to cash in on Blackness. Black empowerment, a very watered down version of it, has seemed to be trendy lately, especially since Black Panther came out. Once the movie industry saw how well Black Panther did in the box office, they saw that seemingly, and I'm going to use seemingly, pro-Black content can sell. A Black Superman would just be a way to placate to the masses when it comes to diversity, racial sensitivity, and social justice. I think it would be more tokenism and symbolic gestures, yet no substance. What do I mean by that? Well, while it might be nice for little Black boys and little Black girls to see a Black Superman, the fact is these same children will still be growing up in a system of racism, white supremacy. We still don't live in a system of justice. We still live in a system of injustice. And I doubt that will change by the time this Black Superman movie comes out. If there is even a plan for it to come out, and I'll touch on that briefly in a few, but aside from the racial aspect of it, as we all know, DC live action movies has had some trouble in the past. Yeah, we already know. It seems like the studio gets in its own way when it comes to their live action movies. Now, I think they have been very reactionary towards the Marvel Cinematic Universe instead of just trusting in someone like Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder, as we all know, did Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, the Snyder Cut, which I think were all excellent movies. Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman were great movies. I don't care if others disagree. It's my opinion. Those were great movies to me. And the Snyder Cut of the Justice League was 100 times better than whatever that 2017 Justice League movie was, the one that came out in the theaters. So kudos.
That joint really sucked though. Just saying.
The 2017 joint, yeah, definitely.
It sucked. I ain't gonna.
Yeah, that shit was trash. That shit was trash. But
horribly.
Yeah, it was horrible. I agree on that. But the Snyder Cut, whew, that like I said, 100 times better.
That's a 4-hour movie, right?
Yeah, that's the 4-hour one.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely fucking with the Snyder Cut right now. But yeah, so it just seems like when it comes to Warner Brothers, DC, it just seems like there's too many chefs in the kitchen. And as an artist myself, I can only imagine how frustrating it is to not be able to have full creative control of my own project. It seems like that has been a big issue over there at Warner Brothers. Now, I understand that these companies want to make money. I get it. They're about profit. They're not necessarily about the art. So with all of that in mind, I can see those underlying issues being a hindrance to a Black Superman movie. The thing is, there has been no confirmation that this will be a Black Superman. At this point, it sounds like people are assuming it will be a Black Superman movie since there is a Black writer attached to the project. The thing is, we don't know for sure. At this point, it's just hearsay. Now, if it were to ever come out, I could see it being a big deal. I can also see it being very divisive. We don't have confirmation yet on if this version of Superman will be Black or not, but the racist nerds are out there running their mouths. Basically, the soft white supremacists out there don't approve. If you go on some of these message boards and social media platforms, you could see a lot of these clowns are getting upset. The thought of a Black Superman just pisses them off, even though if they were as familiar with the comics as they claim they are, then they should know that there are different Supermans from different Earths. There's two, to my knowledge, one of them being Val Zod and another one being Calvin Ellis. So if there will be a Black Superman movie, most likely it would be based on one of them. I highly doubt that we'll see a Black Clark Kent. So in terms of impact, it will definitely attract the Black masses, but it will also bring out the racist trolls. Money will be made and divisiveness will ensue. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for sharing. Mr.
Yep.
E-Man, what say you?
All right. So before we even, get into before I even say anything, I'm not a big fan of Batman versus Superman. I thought it was a very shitty movie, but that's just me, From the nerd side, they did okay, but to me, to my eyes, that movie was shitty. Man of Steel wasn't too bad. But when it comes to the Black Superman, for me, I would say I really don't care. And not because, PAT just stated there was two. It's the simple fact is that these creators are not being very, I would say, upcoming or more, what's the gentle word to say? Real about, the origins of Superman, So for all my nerds out there, everyone knows, Superman, the Man of Steel, and basically, the S on his chest, it stands for hope. But also, if you look at the S, when I think of that S, it makes me think of the sun. The reason why is because what is that great thing that Superman, when he's around kryptonite, he always has to head to the sun, and it gives him, back his super strength. When you look how history and whatnot, they always talked about those who were melatonin, how the sun is very good, to their natural bodies and skin, that the sun gives them power. And what does the sun give Superman? Power. But they say that the red sun, kind of weakens his power, and his weakness is kryptonite. And to look back at everything, when you look at many original people, that those who you consider as Black was actually green because of what Superman towards like the whole kryptonite thing. So the reason why I'm not really looking forward towards this movie is that it's one of those things that we're just adding this to make everyone feel happy. And I know PAT already talked about it, but I feel like this situation is just like how they made a Ghostbusters movies with all four women, knowing that the original cast towards the cartoons, it was like four men. Even though they were white, it doesn't make the difference. But it seems like now we're trying to draw in trends just to make people feel happy, you know? Just
Right.
like
I
how
agree.
just how PAT stated, you know, about the whole Black Panther thing. I will tell everyone I was not one of those people who went in theaters, you know, who went to go see it on opening day. But a lot of people disrespect me about that because they felt that I had lost my blackness for not being part of that grand opening. But I tell everyone I'm still going to watch the movie regardless. And knowing me, I'm a nerd. So I enjoy watching movies regardless, me in theaters or outside of theaters. You know, that's just the nerd in me. So, and I just want to end quickly on my point and just state that, you know, until we talk about the origins of Superman, which I just broke it down very slowly and peacefully, you know, we're not going to move anywhere because the more we keep doing this, it's going to get, you know, it's like this whole stack effect. And here comes another example of me being a nerd. So I believe the whole Miss Marvel thing also falls into like, I think they were fighting that battle of because they wanted a Hindu type of superhero and they got one, but they used Miss Marvel and that name's now being thrown around and now it's being manipulated. So I feel like Superman's probably going to be that next person, even if we get this Black Superman movie or not. But towards when this movie come out, am I going to watch it? Yes, because I'm a nerd head. But will I feel very passionate about the movie? I'm gonna say no, you know, because until we're actually putting out films to represent something that is beautiful versus as you know making a dollar, because I mean everyone has to make their dollar, but we got to stop these trends of you know of well we got this ghost like the original Ghostbusters movie was all men, now we need all women now, you know, we need a black Superman now, what's the next thing, oh we're going to need a black Aquaman, and you know, and it's going to keep going down and down until we satisfy everyone, and this is
Right.
what
Symbolic gestures. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
this is what this is going to be. So even if the movie comes out, even if it doesn't, you know, I feel like we're still going to be back at square one. So that's just my take.
Okay, good stuff. So I think both of you touched on some really good points. Definitely. I agree with a fair amount that each one of you said. So just answering the question specifically, will this movie come to fruition? And if so, what will be the impact? So it could definitely come to fruition, right? As times have changed and the world is becoming a little more accepting than it's been in the past. You know, as Pat mentioned, by no means do I think that, you know, all inequalities are just going to go away before this movie comes out. That's not the case, right? But do I think that there are a lot of people who might have in the past been strictly opposed to going outside of the norm, especially with a character as important to the American society as Superman. I mean, when you think about it, he is the quintessential representation of white male supremacy, right? Um, and I think, you know, I know a lot of people are going to be offended when I say that, but when you think about the foundation of racism, it's wanting to make sure that the oppressed never feel enabled, right? And when you have a character like this, and I mean, as Pat said, there have been already multiple versions of this character, and there were at least 2 or 3 that were Black. So it's not like this is going to necessarily be a shock. But the point is, those characters have never been on the big screen before in any movie, right? There's an animation where it referenced one of those characters, but again, that's an animated cartoon. We're talking about bringing this to the big screen. We're talking about, you know, it's no longer something that people who feel that way, who have that underlying supremacy issue, they can't ignore it, right? And regardless of whether it's a part of the DCU universe or whether it's a part of, he's going to have own standalone universe he's going to be a part of, there are going to be enough closeted racists who are going to be offended by it because of what Superman generally represents. So yeah, it could definitely come to fruition. The impact is going to be that, it's going to play to the notion that, look, there's a Black Superman. The world has changed. America is not, it can't be two races of a country, because otherwise we wouldn't have a Black Superman. That's bullshit. Okay. Black Panther has been out for how long? And we're still dealing with some basic human rights that we don't get just because of being Black. Or, as you both know, I don't like that term Black per se, but, I'm going to use it because it's the colloquialism that's been given to us. But, at the end of the day, what I would say about this, as a fan of DC Comics, as a fan of all comics, but as a fan of DC Comics, I'm excited about the prospect of bringing out alternate characters from what they have in general, because they have been very, very behind MCU, to say the least, and their characters, especially the context and content and maturity of the characters, have been lackluster. So I'm excited from that aspect to see that they're considering other projects. Do I think part of it is pandering? Absolutely. And do I think that if they're going to do it, they better make sure that they put the right people on the staff? And I mean everything from the casting to the director to the producer to the fucking assistant that brings them coffee on the set. Okay?
Right.
Do your due diligence if you're going to release this film.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is not one that the Black community will sit idly by and let the bullshit pass. So if you're going to step out there, you better step out there correct.
So
yeah, that's my thoughts.
But now here come my question is, who the hell is going to play Batman then? That's now, I'm pondering on that now. So who played Batman in the new Justice League movie?
Still Ben Affleck.
My damn. DC, this is just coming from a nerd. You guys need to make sure that you find somebody else to play Batman, because I am not a Ben Affleck fan.
Oh man.
So
I can say allegedly, but yeah, I am not a Ben Affleck fan. You guys should have got Christian Bale, and he would have done a better job. I'm just saying, that's just coming from a nerd. But
no, I actually, to a certain extent, I actually agree with you there. I preferred Christian Bale's Batman to Ben Affleck's Batman, but they are a different time period slightly. Ben Affleck's Batman is the older, is about to retire, have lost Robin version, right? And so Christian Bale's Batman, even though technically in that third movie he does retire, it is a different time period. He's still, say, 35 to 40s, whereas Ben Affleck's Batman is supposed to be like pushing 50s.
Pushing 50. And he's like a vet. He's a vet. Yeah. And it's based on the Dark Knight Returns.
Exactly.
Batman. So, but I'll tell you y'all straight up, I'm a fan of Ben Affleck's Batman. But we all have different opinions. But I just like Naya said, we have to realize like these are two different versions of Batman. Christian Bale's was one version, Ben Affleck is a different version.
Exactly.
And I personally think they both did a great job playing the versions that they played.
I think Ben Affleck did a great job in Batman versus Superman. Can't say that I agree for either one of the Justice League cuts. So I know this conversation is about Superman, but I just want to touch on this briefly. I loved that this movie from Zack Snyder was much better interpretation wise than the original Joss Whedon one. And I love that he went to add some depth to the characters that we didn't have in the first one.
Yeah.
The only issue that I have with Zack Snyder is that he has a serious editing problem. That freaking scene with the Flash where he's playing with the hot dog and saving the girl, it's like, dude, that scene is too fucking long. Cut that shit by 2.5 minutes and keep it moving. Okay, the same thing with the scene where Lois goes to get coffee and brings it to the cop. Like, dude, get the fuck. Cut that shit by half and we can talk. I think other than that though, just everything, the reanimation of Steppenwolf, the scene with the Amazons in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah, that was dope.
That he adds for all the characters, I loved it compared to the first.
All right, so I got a 4-hour movie I need to go watch.
Yes, you definitely need to watch it.
But yeah, definitely watch it. And here's the thing, because I'm hearing people talk about the length of time. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you could take a break. It's also broken up in
the chapters.
In chapters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like watching a series in a way.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So I mean,
yeah,
you don't have to sit and watch it all the way through.
So he might make up for Batman versus Superman. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. Great stuff, fellas. That was. I think we definitely wrapped that one up pretty well.